I'm Henry. Sam. I think I caught your name was Joel.
Ellie.
You know, when I got the audition and I saw HBO, I saw Craig, I saw Neil, who was, you know, a part of the game, I was just very excited for the prospect of me potentially, you know, being a part of this show. You know, HBO does such great work, so I knew that they were gonna really kind of do justice to this story and to this game.
And so how did you prepare for the role going into it?
I mean, it was pretty quick of a turnaround for me. You know, I got the audition, I think, on a Friday or something like that. I sent in the tape on the Monday. By the Wednesday, I got the call that I had booked it. By Saturday, I was on a plane, and my first day of work was the following week. So very fast. I also had to learn sign language, which I didn't know prior to me hopping on that flight to go to Calgary to shoot. So it was a crash course. You know, everything was quite quick. But you know, I enjoy challenges because I feel like through a challenge, at the other end of it is growth. And you know, especially with Kevon being deaf in real life, it was really important for me to learn as much as I could, as quickly as I could, because our relationship is so important and our bond is so important. So I really want to establish that immediately, and also just learning my scenes with sign. You know, there's a really big scene that there's no dialogue at all. It's all sign. So you know, I really committed myself to make sure that I did that as authentically as I possibly could within the time that I was given.
Yeah, and so since your scenes, especially that one scene where it's all signing, you know, with Kevon Woodard, who plays your brother in the show, Sam, what was it like beyond learning sign language when you just have to emote solely physically, right?
Yeah.
How is that different?
Well, that's a lot of sign, right? I mean, obviously there's signs, but a lot of it is within your facial expression and in your physicality. So that actually was easier for me to pick up because of just, you know, just being able to like physicalize and emote through your face. You know, that's kind of acting, you know. I started in theater and on stage, so, you know, that's kind of what we had to do, especially being really big as well, because the person in the back of the theater has to also see you and feel you as well. So,
you know, I found that this episode in particular, but also the whole show really, and the games, is about keeping hope. Like you're saying, you know, that confidence, that's hope, and surviving in a largely hopeless world. You know, we see Sam putting on his superhero mask and drawing. You know, we see him and Ellie playing soccer, you know, and, you know, the comics that tell us to endure and survive. These are all ways of finding little bits of hope. And so I'm wondering for you personally, you know, when things are tough and in dark times, where do you find hope?
My family, the people that I love, the people that support me, my support system that I have around me that is just very strong. And I'm very grateful to have them around me to kind of just hold me up whenever I need that, you know, that uplifting. And I'm really grateful that I have them around me.
And so I want to end on a little bit of a lighter note then. You know, obviously we're Kotaku, we're all about gaming, and so I want to know, you know, are there any other game franchises outside of The Last of Us that you'd like to, you know, work on in a similar way in the future?
I would love to play the live action Miles Morales.
Ooh, okay.
I would love to do that, right? The Spider-Man game, like the new one is fantastic, and then the Miles is great too. And I think the new one is Peter and Miles kind of coming together to kind of work in tandem. I just love that storyline, and I love the prospect of potentially, you know, seeing Miles in the MCU, working alongside Tom Holland. That would be great. So, you know, I would love to do that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. I think you'd kill it.
Thank
so
you.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.